Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation as part of the Industry Insight webinar series. The topic this time is 24 critical policies and procedures your firm needed yesterday. Speaking today will be Kristen David from How to Manage a Small Law Firm. Kristen specialized in civil litigation, including medical and legal malpractice defense for 15 years. As a successful litigator and business owner, she understands the dynamics of a busy law firm and balancing the 7 working parts of every business. The Industry Insight webinar series is hosted by the ABA Legal Technology Resource Center. To stay updated on upcoming webinars or view previous videos, visit ambar.org/industryinsight. You can also stay updated on legal technology news through our blog, lawtechnologytoday.org. The presentation today will be followed by a Q&A. Please enter your questions into the question box in the webinar panel on the right side of your screen. All questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. We are recording this webinar, and we will be sending a video and a follow-up email in a few days. We'll also post the video on our blog, which again is lawtechnologytoday.org. Thank you all for joining us. We'll now begin the webinar.
Hello everyone, this is Kristen David, and I'm so glad that you're joining us today. As a fellow lawyer, I know that your time is your most precious asset, and so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure this is time well spent. We've got a lot of great information and some great checklists to help you get your firm underway. Policies and procedures are what help us build systems and protect your sanity. So we're going to be going through not only the concepts of certain policies and procedures, but actually help you so you can start writing up a practical set for your firm. So I'm joined today by Chelsea Lambert, who many of you have received her emails. Chelsea is just a technology fanatic, just always into everything, has been a law practice management advisor with the Chicago State Bar, as well as worked with Smokeball and various other people. I'm so fortunate to have her on my team. She'll probably pop in every now and then and say a little hello. As Rose indicated in the introduction, I'm an attorney from Portland, Oregon. I'm going to say a quick hello here for those of you that are seeing this. I love policies and procedures because that's what helped me find my freedom. That's what got me out of being on the hamster wheel all the time. So we're going to get started and help you build a good set of policies and procedures as well. All right, so are you working too hard? Chances are the answer is yes. Goodness knows I did too. I was a great litigation attorney, but I started having to manage staff, have to manage the marketing and onboarding new clients, and then the financial components. And it seemed like there were just so many components to always be dealing with. And I constantly was getting interrupted with questions. And how do I do this? And how do you want this done? And so it got to that point where it was almost more work than I could handle just having a law firm with a growing staff, because they were constantly looking to me for guidance. And then, no judgment zone, because I didn't know how to do any of this stuff either before, I learned how to write policies and procedures, and it truly was something that helped me find my freedom. So we're going to talk today about internal policies, external policies, and procedures. I'm going to rapid fire go through a lot of stuff today, so I hope you're taking notes. So first, let's define these. An internal policy are the guidelines for ourselves as owners as well as for our staff. This is what gives us a rule of thumb of how and why we're supposed to do some things. External policies are the policies for everyone outside the firm, like your clients and vendors and everyone else outside the firm. Believe it or not, you can train your clients to be good clients. Because the fact of the matter is most clients have never dealt with a lawyer. They don't know how to act. They don't know that it's inappropriate to call you 6 times a day and ask for updates or text you. You've got to set those standards in the beginning of the relationship. And the great news is they want to be good clients. And so with just some gentle assistance of providing them some written external policies of how to work with your firm, you can have a much better relationship with your clients. But then on the inside, there's the phones that are constantly ringing, and every time you take unscheduled telephone calls, how frustrating that is because it interrupts what you're doing. And then, once you get some staff, and I recognize that maybe not everyone on this call, on the webinar, actually has staff at this point. Many of you are growing your law firms, and you look forward to the days of bringing in staff, or maybe you already have staff. But you've got to have clear procedures. Procedures are the how-to, step-by-step, do things in the way that you want it done. And you as the owner get to direct that piece for everyone. So let's dive right on in. Internal policies. These are the 12 key administrative internal policies every law firm needs. Truly. We all need to reiterate to ourselves and our staff about attorney-client confidentiality, about client interactions. It may seem like common sense to say you shouldn't get too close with the clients, but when you hire someone new and young that maybe has never worked in the legal profession, you do need to say those things. And everything is made common by written explanation. So you have a simple policy that's written that says it's the policy of the firm not to have overly friendly interactions with clients outside of the office. I often use the example of if you are a family law firm and you happen to run into a new client that just signed up with you and he is at a social function and you walk up and, hey, Mr. Smith, and as you walk away, Mrs. Smith is saying, honey, who was that? And they're like, the paralegal at the law firm I hired to divorce you? I mean, that's uncomfortable. So you have to maintain that level of professionalism and teach your staff and also remind yourselves. That's what internal policies are about. But it's also about things like attorney access. You'll see number 7 on this list. We have to teach our staff when to interrupt you and when not to interrupt you. It's kind of like having a gatekeeper system. In other words, you want to have a policy that each morning you're going to spend 2 or 3 hours of client work. And then you'll work with staff on their questions and help get them moving on projects so that then they can get work done as well in the afternoon. So you've got to have a good written policy so that everyone remains productive. Again, I could go into these over and over again, every single one, but in the interest of time, we're going to move on through some of these. I've got to tell you, we actually have a workshop I do. It's a 4-day. We spend one whole day on building these internal policies. It's a lot of fun. You get a lot of feedback from other attorneys and other staff, and really nail these down, because your first draft, and that's what I encourage everyone to do, is get started. Don't feel like you have to get these perfected, but you want to have some information down about work hours and holidays. That has to do with things like show up at 8:30 and leave at 5:30. You get Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever days off. A different policy is business hours and dress code. That means these are the times that the public have access to the law firm, whether by phones or in person, and that we have to have that high level of professionalism. That's different than if you have Saturday work hours where you're just internally, everyone in the staff are working to get some busy work done. When we have business hours, we have to be at our utmost level of professionalism. You want to explain that to your staff. So again, lots of great stuff here. I'd encourage you all to think about how you would want to document these in your own firm. So next we have external policies. External policies, again, are for everyone outside of your firm. Mainly think of your clients. So number 1 and 2 are two of the top ones. Define the word emergency and then explain for your clients how they can have access to the attorneys. In other words, many clients think they have a perceived emergency. Think family law clients. Often what is an emergency for them is not so much of an emergency for you. Because let's be honest, a lot of times we can't go to the court fast enough. If they truly have an emergency, they may need to call 911, right? There may need to be some other things that happen. So we want to explain to clients, here is how the law firm defines the word emergency. Here is what we consider to be urgent. When you contact our office, our staff will triage your issue so that if it is truly an emergency, we will get an attorney as quickly as possible on the phone with you. Right? You want to reassure the client that we're there for them if they truly need it. But there are a lot of situations that are just merely urgent. Access to attorney is all about teaching the client, if you want to schedule an appointment with the attorney, call our office, expect to get triaged by our staff, who will find out whether that you need a 15-minute phone call, a 30-minute in-person meeting, or whether perhaps the team can help take care of their question without the necessity of waiting for an attorney. See, clients want to know what's in it for them. They want to know, how can I get the information I want? So we go through access to attorney and we explain our desired protocol with phones, with meetings, with email. Remember, you get to set the standard as to how quickly they should expect a response on emails. Help dissipate their expectation in the beginning of the relationship that email is an instantaneous form of communication. And teach them, like number 4, new developments in the case. When should they send an update to the office on what's going on? When can they expect to hear from the office so they don't call 6 times a day? This is the value of external policies. We get to help the staff and yourself really empower clients to act like good clients. Give them some guidelines. Remember that part about policies and procedures equal systems insanity? This is it, folks. This right here can be a game changer for so many of you. So just get started on some of these external policies. So I've been running through these very quick. I want you to take a second and take a look at these checklists. Here on the screen should be the website to be able to get your very own printable checklist of the 24 key policies and procedures that I'm going through today. That's 12 key internal policies, 12 key external policies, and 24 key procedures. We've got all kinds of great data in there. So we're giving, I know it said 24 critical policies and procedures. We gave you a few extras. We're always in it to try to help you out. As an attorney, I know it just, there's so many things coming at you. Don't get overwhelmed by this list. Pick 3 or 4 to do every 2 weeks. Just get started on these. Slowly you build them and they will make your life so much better. Administrative procedures. Again, who shall do what by when, the step-by-step, how to get it done. So I want to actually, we're going to talk about your choices. Oops. You can specifically choose chaos or choose control. I'm going to gather that many of you on the call today really would not like to go into your law firm and see the mess on the left. Many of us have lived through that. No judgment zone. I'm in that boat too. Much prefer the desk on the right. By the way, that was my desk after I learned how to get organized and got a kick-ass legal secretary who really helped me stay organized. So it's all a choice. So let's talk about a few more procedures and I'm going to walk you through 1 or 2. So you want to have a procedure for new client engagement. The minute that a client becomes a client, we want to know the process that's in place. That's really, really key. Never, ever else do you get this chance to make that great first impression. So I'd encourage a lot of you to start with number 13, and we're going to start with that in a moment as well. Then, of course, you've got to, as having taught ethics and worked with a lot of malpractice, I've got to tell you, declining a new case or engagement is important too. I know as attorneys we get busy, but when you have that gut feel it's a bad client, you want a procedure in place so your staff can help get that letter out declining the engagement, so you protect yourself. And then I'd encourage you to move to 15 and 16, which are both great marketing pieces. The pre-engagement glide path, we're going to talk about that in a minute as well, because I think so many of you are interested in that component, is that whole process from the moment they call your office and they're interested, and who they talk to, and the email confirmation they get, and all the things that help make that a smooth process. Post-engagement glide path actually talks about the very end of a case, when you're closing the file and the follow-up. This is all marketing to people who already know you, like you, and trust you. This is how you create raving fans. And when you have a great procedure that is managed by other people, this is a great opportunity to make more money and help more people. And as you'll see down the rest of this list, and these are in the checklist, preparing bills, accepting payments, monthly bookkeeping. As an owner of a law firm, you've got to manage all of that. Even if you're just working within a law firm, computer backups and computer file organization, these are key to your sanity, being able to find stuff. And yes, it takes a little bit of time to come to an agreement with everyone. How are we going to name the files? How are we going to name the computer folders so that everyone starts using them consistently? So let's talk about a couple of procedures. This next one is a pre-engagement glide path, right? Most of you can conceptualize this, and then you have to build out the procedure for each part. So A, initial phone contact with the firm. Well, you'd want to have that policy and procedure on answering telephones. B, need to do that conflicts check, right? Need that procedure. Need the staff to understand why we do a conflicts, that's the policy. Then we do a pre-screening interview to make sure this is an ideal A-plus client for us. Then the receptionist would schedule a formal consultation. That should be in the policy and procedure on scheduling appointments. Then send confirmation email with directions. Again, the receptionist would know how to send that out, what language to use. There'd be a template email. And then maybe you send a pre-engagement welcome package. Here's what to expect at your first meeting. And then maybe even a 24-hour appointment reminder phone call. Now, for some of you, you don't have the bandwidth to do all these steps, and that's okay. Think of this as like do a screen snapshot here, or use your cell phone, take a little snapshot, and think, I want to do A, B, and D for now, and then I'm going to add in E, and then I'm going to add in the pre-screening interview, and you'll build it out as you grow. So have a lot of fun with that. Okay, next one. This is a procedure after the client has gotten, has said, yes, I want to retain the firm. So you want your staff and even yourself to have a good, clear guideline and procedure on how to do the initial steps every time consistently. Intake means opening the file, making sure you have a signed retainer and the money deposited. Then we schedule the assistant schedules a deadlines meeting to meet with you who had met with the client. And prior to that meeting, they should identify any upcoming deadlines. If it's criminal law, it might be a hearing. If it's a PI case, it might be a statute of limitations. If it's estate planning, it might just be that the client's going to Europe and identifying that we need to get this done by this date. The bottom right-hand corner red rectangle is the deadlines meeting. That just means a 2-minute discussion between the assistant and the attorney. Hey, what are our upcoming deadlines? Let's all get on the same page with this new case. Then next step, the secretary shall write up the post-meeting memo as to what was agreed, what dates. In the final rectangle, the secretary shall calendar and tickle any deadlines to make sure we move the case forward. You notice often it's not the attorney who's responsible for doing many of these steps. You want to delegate to your team and so that they have good clarity on what they're supposed to do to make your life better and what we can do to make the client's life better and have a great user experience. So this is an example of a procedure that helps move the case forward right off the get-go. These are the kind of things that allow you to have sanity because otherwise it can get very frustrating. So I want to talk a little bit about what these mean to you and to your firm. So let's just think about 3 hours of your day get filled with interruptions, unscheduled telephone calls, looking at the mail sporadically or emails, heaven forbid emails, looking for files, dealing with emergencies that aren't really emergencies. Now, I did litigation, so maybe I had more emergencies and fires than most of you, but you all have some of these. And let's talk about what 3 hours of your precious time means. At a base $250 an hour, that's $750 a day it's costing the firm. That's $3,225 a month. It's almost $10,000 every quarter. How would each and every one of you like to put $10,000 extra in your pocket every quarter? I mean, that's a pretty great opportunity just by filtering out some of these interruptions and having other team members know what they're supposed to do. Now, even if you're alone, everyone, you can use things like Ruby Receptionist to answer your phones every morning from 9 a.m. till noon. During that time, you can get some work done. Don't turn on your email. Maybe do it for 30 minutes, check what's there, but get some good productive time in. Don't let the rest of the world take over your schedule. Put on your emails, have a new procedure, a new policy. It's the policy of the firm that the attorney shall only check emails 3 times a day. And the procedure is step 1, place on the bottom of every email a notation. This email will only be checked periodically throughout the day. If this is an emergency, please call our office. Now you're dispelling the expectation that you're going to get phone calls, that your client will get like an immediate response from you when they send you an email. That way you can spend those morning hours getting some work done. So again, it's your precious time. This is where the policies and procedures become so crucial to help you claw back your life. Because when you turn your practice into a business, this is what allows you to find your sanity. This is what I think many of you have actually been reading through some of the emails from Chelsea and such. You have to build systems in order to have good working processes in your business. Otherwise, it's hard to hire staff. It's hard to go on vacation. I mean, how many of you have been at beautiful locations like the slide and you're like working on your phone? How much would you like to just be able to relax and know that somebody's covering for you at your office and they're doing the great job that you want them to do. I mean, let's even just go back to this pre-engagement glide path. How much better would you feel if you knew that this was built so that somebody else on your team could answer your phones and be signing clients up to come into the office and preconditioning those clients to want to hire the firm? How great would that be? And the great news is every single one of you can build this stuff. It's not rocket science. The hard part, though, everyone, frankly, is taking the time to get it done. And that's where some of you are great with doing it on your own. Some of you need an accountability partner. I mean, I will be honest. I needed an accountability partner too. Someone to help me get these kind of things built. So one of the things that I wanted to just share, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to share a lot of this stuff with you today. I was once a prisoner in my law firm. I actually joined How to Manage a Small Law Firm as a member. In 2011, I joined as a law firm owner and learned how to write a business plan. In the first 9 months, I started learning about these policies and procedures, and I wrote my business plan. I doubled my law firm from $350,000 to $700,000 in 9 months. I hired people. I had to learn to delegate. And then I went back with my team of How to Manage team, and we revamped my business plan, and I took a 4-day workshop on policies and procedures to really work on systematizing my whole firm. And over the next 9 months, I doubled my law firm again. And that was how I found my freedom. And that was how I actually, over time, How to Manage actually came to me and recruited me to join them full time. And so I actually sold my law firm about 1.5 years ago, and I've been working with law firms ever since. But I'm passionate about all these policies and procedures because so much of my sanity and being able to take vacations that were real vacations came from being able to put this stuff in place.